Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome into Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, here on a lovely Friday afternoon from downtown Columbia Street. Hope you had a great day. Looking forward to a marvelous weekend. This is one of the great sports weekends in our state every year. Do not deny it. USC Clemson, Clemson USC baseball, 3-game series caravanning through a part of the state, starting tonight in Columbia. Then going up I-26 to 385 into downtown Greenville Saturday afternoon. And then probably taking US 123 from Greenville over to Clemson for Sunday's game to wrap up the series. Who's going to win? Well, voters on our website, sportstalksc.com, have solidly picked the Gamecocks to win this series. I picked the Gamecocks to win it last night as well. Tell me what you think. Do you agree or disagree? Why will USC win? Why will Clemson win? Of course, we all know in baseball, by and large, it depends on what happens on the mound. Who's going to get the better pitching? And, of course, the other factors come into play. You got to have good defense. You got to have timely hitting, et cetera, et cetera. But if you don't get that good pitching, then you don't really have much of a chance. With some of their new guys really impressive here at the start of the season. And, Schmidt against Barnes tonight, we'll see. Schmidt has been very, very good early in the season, and Barnes has too. You just have to kind of go with your gut instinct. I could be totally wrong. I mean, a guy like Seth Beer, for example, at Clemson, a young phenom, he could get red hot and carry the Tigers. He's certainly capable of doing that, but how will he handle things as a true freshman who should really still be in high school because he left high school early to enroll at Clemson? He should be getting ready for his senior season of high school baseball, the prom, and all that. So he really is a young guy. It's going to be a fascinating series. Hopefully it will be exciting. Hopefully we'll have some close games. Hopefully we'll have some controversy. Hopefully emotions will be on the sleeves. And nothing dirty. I don't want anything dirty, but there's nothing wrong with a little smack talk and a little bit of stare downs and things of that nature. Don't want any head hunting or anything like that, but hard but clean slides are certainly acceptable in this series and in any series. So looking forward to it. K-Mac is making his way over to Founders Park in Columbia. We'll be checking in with him. Oh, the Gamecocks laid an egg last night against Georgia. All of a sudden, they have gone from definitely in to possibly out of the NCAA tournament. Can you believe that? How do you fix the Gamecocks by tomorrow at Arkansas and into the SEC tournament? What's your advice for Frank? We'll talk about all that and more coming up here on Sports Talk. Okay, we're back. 800-956-7266 is the phone number. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com. On Twitter @sportstalksc. The website is sportstalksc.com. And on Facebook, you can like us there, Sports Talk Radio Network. Lines are open for you. If you'd like to join in on the program tonight, share your comments, your observations, your thoughts, things that you like, things you don't like, things that you agree with, things that you don't agree with. I know you're stuck in traffic leaving Columbia. No doubt about it. Maybe coming out of Charleston. Stuck out there on 526. Traffic always heavy this time of the day up in Greenville on 85. It's a nightmare. We take your mind off your traffic woes here on Sports Talk all over the state. So feel free to hit us up, 800-956-7266, the number. I mentioned the poll question of the week is who's going to win the South Carolina Clemson series. Love to get some feedback from you on that over the airwaves. The poll, more than 500 responses and 79%, 407 votes to be exact, say South Carolina will win the series, either 3-0 or 2-1. The Gamecocks have dominated this series over the past few years. They have won, if my memory serves me right, I believe since 2010, they've won something like, was it 22 of 29 games I counted up? Pretty good number there. But Clemson did win the series last year, 2 out of 3. Included in the numbers I mentioned is the fact that USC and Clemson have played in NCAA postseason games over that stretch, and that's where South Carolina has really had the advantage over the Tigers. So your thoughts on that? What's going to be the key? Who's going to be the key? And you know, tell me more than pitching, whoever gets better pitching, whoever hits home runs, etc. Who do you think will be the hero of the series for USC and Clemson? Who is the guy that will walk away with USC's Tom Price Award and Clemson's Bob Bradley Award, you think, going into the series? A quick update on a couple of things, and we will get to your phone calls, I promise. USC women had a bit of a struggle today in their first game of the SEC tournament in Jacksonville, but they did win over Auburn 57-48. Elena Coates, 14 points, 12 rebounds, her 16th double-double of the season. And, of course, the USC women played very good defense. They are now 29-1. They've won 7 in a row. And the Gamecocks shot a season-low 31.4% from the floor and had a season-low 16 baskets. But played good enough defense to overcome a slow start and win this one. Asia Wilson had 8 points and 8 rebounds. So, hey, it's good that you can win when you don't play great. That's a good thing. We'll let you hear a little bit from Dawn Staley as she was interviewed after the game. I'll bring that to you in a little bit here on Sports Talk. All right, so that is that game from Jacksonville. And see if we've got any other scores to pass along from the women's tournament. Well, we do. We're all over women's basketball here on Sports Talk, as you are well aware. Kentucky beat LSU 79-71. That was yesterday, Corn. How about today? Corn, can you give us today's scores, please? Okay. Kentucky beat Florida 92-69. And so USC will play Kentucky in the semifinals tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Texas A&M is leading Tennessee 8-7 in the first quarter. I don't like quarters anymore for women's basketball. I mean, I'm just so used to halves. I can't get used to this quarter thing for women's basketball. But then again, I haven't been to a game all season, so my opinion really doesn't matter. Now, does it? I really shouldn't have an opinion for something that I haven't really covered all season. So I apologize for offering an opinion, but I still don't really like it. What else do we have for you? We'll update some other tournament basketball from around the country, games involving state teams. For example, in the Big South, Presbyterian leading Winthrop in the first half, 8-7. PC coming off that last-second win last night. We've also got play underway in the Southern Conference tournament. That is in Asheville. Also, the Colonial Athletic Conference, Charleston Southern playing to Delaware. In the Big South tonight, Coastal Carolina will take on Gardner Webb. And I think that's all we got going on right now along those lines. We'll update some baseball scores for you as well. Clemson football today. Tigers on the practice field. We'll update some news out of Clemson spring practice for you here in just a little bit when that becomes available to us. Okay, so we got a full boat for you this Friday night. We'll catch up with K-Mac over at the baseball park. We'll have Lee Klein with us a little bit after 7 o'clock, our basketball ambassador, get his thoughts on the fate of the South Carolina basketball team. Will they make it? Will they not? The way they are playing right now, I can't see them beating Arkansas tomorrow in Arkansas on Arkansas Senior Day. I mean, South Carolina, with the exception of that win at Texas A&M, they've not been a very good road team this year. And even an average Arkansas team is tough to beat at home. So I don't see that as a win. So that means you're going to have to go to next Thursday, the SEC tournament, and win then and maybe even win on Friday. I don't know exactly how many wins they would need in the tournament. Right now, Jerry Palm and Joe Lunardi still have them in the field. Palm has the Gamecocks as a 10 seed playing in, I think it was Brooklyn, and Lunardi had them as a 9 seed playing somewhere outside of Raleigh, but in the tournament. I'll double-check those brackets for you, but at least they still have them in the field, but dropping like a rock. All right, to the phones we go. 800-956-7266. Is this Bulldog Bert? He's changed his name. He wants to be known as the Bulldog of Saluda. No, it's Bulldog Bert. BB, long time no talk.
Well, ain't no football been going on, but some stuff been going on Boom Island, and I wanted to ask you about it, and everybody's been asking me, when you going to ask Phil Kornblut about it? DJ Neal is transferring out of Carolina, and rumor is Shaq Rowland is coming back home as the prodigal son.
Well,
is that true?
That's no rumor, BB. If you listen to Sports Talk on a nightly basis, as you should, you would know that we broke the story on Shaq Rowland earlier this week. Now, DJ Neal, that information came out earlier in the week, and then the next day we got the news that Shaq was very interested in coming back to South Carolina, and I think it's a possibility. It is by no means an absolute right now. And they just took a commitment from a junior college wide receiver for the 2017 class. So they would love to hang on a second back. I can't speak for them. I don't know if they would love to have Shaq back or not. I would think they would because, I mean, he is a talented guy. I think he ran into some issues when he was at USC the first time. I think maybe personality-wise he had some problems with his position coach, and he had some problems that he created on his own. So he's not, clear of responsibility. But he's older now. He's more mature. I think he realizes that he might be lucky enough to get one more shot at big-time football, and he can't blow it. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we'll know something here later on this spring if that's going to work out.
And how about Neal? Where is he transferring to?
I don't know yet. He I don't know if his plan is to try and stay on the major level or transfer down.
Gotcha.
Hey, I see where the Bulldogs stole a quarterback from Alabama. Ooh, not nice. Not nice. How smart you're getting. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that, BB. All right, Bulldog Bert checking in from Saluda, 800-956-7266, the number. 800-956-7266, the number. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Lines are open now. The folks dropped off. So lines are available to you. Citadel and Mercer in the Southern Conference Tournament playing tonight as well. That'll be a 7:30 tip-off in Greenville. And let's see what else I wanted to pass along to you. Couple of things here. Latest odds for winning the NCAA tournament. This is from the Bovada service, the Bovada Las Vegas betting service, whatever you want to call it. Kansas now 5-1 and Michigan State 5-1. Those are the favorites. Kansas, Michigan State. North Carolina 9-1. Kentucky 10-1. Oklahoma, Xavier 12-1. Villanova 1. Duke and Maryland 20-1. Of course, you never know when it comes tournament time who's going to get hot. Could be a Dayton who's 100-1 pick. Could be a Gonzaga who is a 150-1 pick. USC is 250-1. They still think USC is going to get into the tournament. UCLA is 500-1 to win the tournament. By the way, saw a tweet today from one of the national basketball writers suggesting that Memphis or Illinois open up, or both, that Frank Martin's name will be in the mix for those jobs, especially with Martin working on a 2-year contract now, which means, Ray Tanner needs to get that done. I mean, I don't know what the holdup is, but there is absolutely no sense in letting Frank Martin walk and blowing up what he has built to this point. Absolutely none. He has built the foundation for what could be a thriving basketball program. And he's done it his way. He's done it through glares and stares and potty mouth and anything else you want to say. He has built it. And he has recruited well. And he is recruiting well. And he's got a good staff. It's obvious that his assistant coaches are very good. Brad Underwood has gone to where Stephen F. Austin and has done a tremendous job there. So obviously he's an excellent coach. And the guys on his staff now are hard recruiters. And they go after talent at home and abroad, so to speak. So what the deal is, but they need to close the deal with Frank Martin before some people start coming in and try to pull him away with more money and more years and all that. It would be an absolute shame for Frank Martin to be allowed to walk away for whatever reason and have to start over with the USC basketball program, considering the talent that he has coming back. I mean, I know he's losing 3 very good seniors, and these 3 guys had their ups and downs, of course, in their careers, but they formed the nucleus of a team that is still very much in the mix for the NCAA tournament this year. But he's got good young players coming up in the years to come. So my advice to Ray Tanner is get her done. We'll be right back. See, here's the problem I have with today's sports world. It's a problem that I have brought up repeatedly here on the program, and when my cohorts are usually here, K-Mac and sure, I'm usually shouted down when I bring up this complaint. So since they're not here, there's no one to shout me down. But you see, I open up this story, and I'm not picking on Furman. I'm not criticizing. I'm just citing this as an example. The headline reads, Paladins rout Indiana State in Purple and Gold Challenge opener, 17-7. I'm thinking, nice baseball win. And then the subheadline is, Paladins rout Indiana State in Purple and Gold Challenge opener, 17-7. So I'm thinking a good baseball win. And I read the opening paragraph. Furman played a school record 12 runs in the bottom of the fourth inning en route to a 17-7 victory over Indiana State in the opening game of Lipscomb University's Purple and Gold Challenge on Friday afternoon at Draper Diamond. Sounds like baseball to me. I go to the next paragraph. Furman struck first in the bottom of the first inning on Sierra Bishop's solo homer. Well, Sierra, that could be a man or a woman's name. To center field before Indiana State took advantage of a drop fly ball in center by the Paladins with 2 outs in the top of the second as the Sycamores took a 2-1 lead. I still don't know if we're talking baseball or softball at this point. Finally, third paragraph. Bishop walked to open the bottom of the third inning, and Hannah Reynolds, I'm pretty sure Hannah is a female's name most of the time. Hannah Reynolds followed with a single before Anna Rose Borelli crushed a 3-run homer. And then Emma Ogburn. So finally, we get some female. Finally, I realize it's softball. My point is, what's wrong with saying the Lady Paladins or the Lady Sycamores or the Lady something, just so those of us who like to read the stories, there are still those of us who like to open a newspaper or open a email and read the story, not just look at 140 characters. What's wrong with saying lady? Just so you know. All right, that's my complaint. K-Mac coming up in a moment from over at Founders Park for baseball. But first, we go to Barry in Fort Mill. Barry, welcome into Sports Talk. How are you?
And how you doing tonight?
I'm good.
I was wanting to ask you a question about Lady Gamecocks basketball team. As you well know, they're losing some good seniors this year. And I'm just wondering who all Dawn Staley had coming in and any other perspective she had.
Okay, well, they just got a commitment yesterday from a guard in Orlando by the name of Victoria Patrick. She's a 5'8" guard. I'm assuming she's a very good player because that's pretty much all Dawn Staley recruits is good players. So that's one in the class. She also has Arian Bradshaw, 5'6" guard from Massachusetts, and Micaiah Harrigan, 6'2" forward from Pembroke Pines, Florida. So those are the 3 in her class that will be coming in.
Okay, well, didn't they also have a transfer from North Carolina down there that'll be eligible next year?
They had a transfer from Virginia who is playing this year, and I believe there is a transfer from Georgia Tech who is sitting out this season. You are correct. Not from North Carolina, but from Georgia Tech. And her name escapes me at this particular time. Larkin, do you happen to have a name off the top of your head? Yeah, the girl from North Carolina transferred to Tennessee, correct. And so anyway, you're right. There is a transfer. I don't know her name off the top of my head. I remember when she did transfer. I don't recall the name. But you know what? Give me a second. Maybe I can find it here. If you just give me a second. I can almost always put my hands on everything. Let's see if I got it here. Hang on. Oh, you know what? There is a transfer from North Carolina. Alicia Gray. That was another transfer. Yeah. You're thinking of the really good Alicia Gray, 6-foot guard, transferred from North Carolina. Kayla Davis, 6'2" small forward, transferred from Georgia Tech. And 6'2" center Sarah Imovia transferred from Virginia, but she was eligible to play this year. Yeah.
Right.
So there you go. Those are the ones.
Okay. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And the lady hang on a second. Hang on. Bring up K-Mac so he can verify that I slapped myself 3 times. I almost slipped. The Gamecocks won today in the SEC tournament, beating Auburn. K-Mac.
Corn, it's so hard to read the entire story so you can get reading comprehension and figure out that it was a softball story. You like to read, but in reality, you only like to read the headline in the first paragraph, and then you want to make your assumptions from there. Had you read the whole story, you would have known it was a softball story.
Well, but I mean, you know, when you write a story, you're supposed to be able to tell the reader in the first paragraph what you're writing about: the who, when, where, why, and how.
Just read the whole story, Corn. You're that guy that reads the headline.
All right. How are things over at Founders Park?
People are filing in. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful, crisp evening here at Founders Park. Clemson and USC going through the final stages of their pregame warm-ups, and the fans are starting to settle in here for what should be another great series between these two teams, both playing very well. Clemson's won 6 straight. The Gamecocks unbeaten at 9-0. So a lot of excitement to see how these teams go about things tonight, and kind of a new era in this series. It is strange as I was walking up, watching Clemson warm up in their uniforms, thinking this is the first series in, how many decades that Clemson's been facing the Gamecocks without Bill Wilhelm or Jack Leggett coaching the team.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Jack joined the staff in 1992 as an assistant coach to Wilhelm, and he's been there ever since. So you're right. It's the changing of the era, I guess you could say, officially now, with two new coaches. Of course, Chad is in his 4th go around as the head coach with the game. Anything lineup wise that we should be aware of? What did Chad decide to do in those at first base and the outfield where he's been kind of moving guys around?
Yeah, he's going to start Alex Sestino at first base, and he's going to bat the cleanup spot. John Jones will handle the designated hitter spot. He's got Dom Thompson-Williams leading off tonight. That's a spot that I haven't seen him this season. And Mooney is getting the start at shortstop ahead of Arendis tonight. You've got Danny Blair playing, Gene Cohn, of course, in right field, and your left fielder mentioned Dom Thompson-Williams will be in left and leading off for the Gamecocks. Clark Schmidt will start for the Gamecocks, and his brother will start tomorrow. So we could say, Corn, this series will certainly be full of Schmidt.
Oh, well done, K-Mac. What about the Tiger lineup now?
I'll be here all night, folks. All night. Just come by, drop a tip in the jar, and I'll continue with these kind of gems if you'd like. The Tiger.
Yeah.
What's that, Corn?
Tiger lineup. What do you got? What do you got for the Tiger lineup?
Yeah, the Tiger lineup, as we know, Charlie Barnes, sophomore lefty, will get the start on the mound. They have Chase Pender leading off, Eli White, Reed Rollman, and Chris Oakey batting in the cleanup spot. Freshman Seth Beer will be batting 5th tonight. Weston Wilson, Adam Renwick, Chris Williams, and Andrew Cox rounding out the Tiger lineup tonight.
You know what it's called when Chris Oakey hits a home run, don't you?
An okie dokie?
An okie dokie. There you go. You're catching on, K-Mac. You're catching on.
I'm telling you, I'm hot tonight. It's Friday night here at Founders Park. It's open mic night.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Weather looks great, and going to be a full house, and looking forward to it. Anything else? Who's throwing out the first pitch? Who's got the ceremonial first pitch tonight? Do you know?
That's a great question. I have no idea who's throwing out the first pitch tonight.
Okay. When you find out, text me. I always like to know that.
Yeah, that'll be big. Yeah,
that'll be big.
I'll work on that right now. We'll do some investigative.
Put your hot dog to the side there and look out on the field and see who's doing it.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to do some work.
Yep. Okay. Well, look, we will check back with you maybe after the 3rd inning or so.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much. K-Mac, Kevin McCrary, comedy act on the scene at Founders Park. So you heard what the two coaches are doing with their lineups tonight. We'll come back and take more of your calls. 800-956-7266 is the number. And we're back at Sports Talk on a Friday night, presented by South Carolina's 529 College Savings Plan. Future Scholars is the smart way to save for a loved one's education, and tax time is a perfect time to invest. Visit FutureScholar.com. Future Scholar is administered by the Office of State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. We'll get back to your calls. If you'll hang with us here for a couple of minutes, we need to get to Dabo Swinney. The Tigers just finished up their third spring practice, the first practice in pads after going the first two practices in the required shorts and helmet. So let's go to Dabo Swinney just a little while ago talking to the media after spring practice number 3.
Day 3 is getting the pads on and kind of adding that physical part to all the mental stuff we've been doing the first couple days. And to be honest with you, really my focus these first 3 days is just kind of reinstalling our core values of the program, if you will. We got so many young guys and just teaching them how to practice. We've been very successful around here, and one of the main reasons is how we practice. And so just a lot of little things that we just kind of going back and reteaching. And good job, especially the last 2 days, especially once we kind of corrected some things off that first practice. And because it's so important that we create the right kind of habits on our practice field. And so that's been a big emphasis, but really pleased. I think we can be a good team. I mean, I don't know how good. We'll see. We got a long way to go, but I really, really love this team. I'm excited about just the attitude that I've seen so far. Just been doing this long enough. You kind of have certain instincts, and just seeing how they respond to coaching, and just their body language, and again, just the attitude I've seen. I think this is going to be a football team that is really, really going to be a lot of fun to coach. And that's something I'm really excited about. I think the chemistry, the morale, the competition, all of those things are going to be really good as we continue to go through this process. But so far, so good. Today was first day of pads, and we'll watch the tape and get a good evaluation. Every day counts, and tomorrow's another big day. Quick turnaround.
So you see them the same hunger scene that got them to where they got last year?
Yeah, I just like I said, I think that not that last spring was bad, but we just didn't have the competition like we have this spring, and I think that's a big thing. And then just the coachability of these guys. We got a lot of this is a good group of young men that want to be coached, and when they're getting coached, I've been really pleased with how they respond. Their body language and so forth, and it's been really good. It's been a really good 3 days, and again, I think this is just. I told them that today. This is going to be one of those teams that's going to be a lot of fun to just be around every day. So I'm excited about that, but we got a lot of work to do over the next 12 practices.
How challenging is it to keep your team grounded and make them realize that they've got to work just as hard as they did last year to get back to where they got?
Well, not real hard. Pain is a great motivating factor, and there's still a lot of pain, floating around in this group because we didn't get it done. We didn't finish like we wanted to. We finished with some regrets, and we don't want to do that. So, it hasn't been real hard at all. I mean, these guys are highly motivated, individuals, and we got a highly motivated staff. So. That's a good combination.
How important was the bot giving the coaches the raises, and what does it say about the commitment?
Well, it was much deserved. I think our staff, collectively, we're probably going to be, 6th or 7th. And we don't know what a couple of them private schools are, but we're probably in that 6th or 7th range, and I think that these guys have earned it. And I think everybody's kind of a market of their own, and so it was great to be able to reward my staff, per the market that they're in individually, and so we've come a long way as a program, and I think today was a big day for us, and a big day for me to be able to, say thank you to these guys for the job that they've done and to continue to just build our program. That's just all part of it, and the continuity and Clemson is a place that can compete, and we've proven that. And obviously we're still growing our program, and we're growing our revenues and things like that. We're a little different than maybe some of the other programs, but I think that we're very efficient in how.
All right, Dabo Swinney, back in a moment. All right, let's jump to the recruiting report for you on this Friday night. Defensive end Michael McDaniel of Loganville, Georgia, went to Georgia for an unofficial yesterday with his assistant coach Kenyatta Watson, who told us the visit went very well. Georgia, a serious contender, and he thinks he's visiting Maryland this weekend. McDaniel has also taken an official visit to Mississippi State and is scheduled to visit USC March 19th. Alabama is another visit he's expected to make. USC has been his favorite for some time, and it helps that his girlfriend goes to South Carolina State. Offensive linemen T.J. Moore and Eric Douglas of Charlotte, they were at USC yesterday for a football visit and a basketball game last night. They were joined by teammate receiver Ryan Jones, who also has a USC offer but is committed to North Carolina. Moore and Douglas have been to USC several times, dating back to when they were recruited by the Spurrier staff. Talking with both of them last night, they said they enjoyed the visit. It was great. Muschamp telling both how badly he wants the two of them in his program. Moore now has USC back on top. He's keeping everything open. He's got USC back on top ahead of NC State. He said he could be ready to commit soon, but then again, maybe not. He also has offers from North Carolina, Kentucky, Maryland, West Virginia, East Carolina, and Charlotte. Plans to return for the spring game. Douglas plans to take two more visits, Maryland and Penn State, thinking about committing around the time of the spring games or around June. His top list at this point, USC, Clemson, Florida, North Carolina, Maryland, Penn State, in no order. He and Moore visited NC State last Saturday. Also visiting USC yesterday, Allendale Fairfax teammates defensive back Najee Huzendove and defensive back Jerome Polite. USC offered athlete Austin Connor of Dutch Fork yesterday while he was there for an unofficial visit. He also has offers from Virginia Tech, East Carolina, and Dartmouth. He said he's taking his time, but he said South Carolina's in his top 3. They're offering him as an athlete, receiver, to back. He said South Carolina's up there, but he doesn't have a favorite, but the offer was really big to him. Also drawing interest from Wake Forest, he's going to visit Duke on Monday. Defensive back Yusuf Corker visited Georgia Thursday and was offered. He also has USC and Clemson offers. 2018 offensive lineman Jalil Irvin of Stone Mountain, Georgia, plans to be at Clemson's Junior Day tomorrow, as does Tiger quarterback commitment Chase Bryce of Loganville, Georgia. Linebacker Quan Henderson of Covington, Georgia, was at Clemson on Thursday. So keep in mind, Clemson has a Junior Day tomorrow. The guys that are coming in, there's nobody you would really point to say they're going to commit, but you never know when they're on campus. We'll keep a watch out on that. Tomorrow at USC, defensive end Tyreek Johnson from Lakewood is going to visit in the morning. Very good possibility that he will commit to the Gamecocks on that visit. Keep a watch out for the Spurs Up from Muschamp, and also keep a watch out on our website, sportstalksc.com, and on our Twitter feed, #ST Recruiting. Top of the hour break.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Okay, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, here on a Friday night from Columbia. Phil Kornbluth here. Pro is off. K-Max over at baseball. I'll be heading over there after here, then up to Greenville tomorrow, then over to Clemson on Sunday. Follow along on our website, sportstalksc.com, on Twitter at sportstalksc. Want to mention this before we go back to the phone calls. You heard in the Q&A with Dabo Swinney news about the Clemson Board of Trustees and approving increases for coaches today and support staff. Brent Venables gets a $75,000 raise to $1.425 million. $1,425,000. That's the best way to say that. Biggest boost go to Jeff Scott and Tony Elliott. Each gets $400,000. No, each gets a raise to $625,000 from $400,000. The 9 assistants will receive salaries that total $5.3 million this coming season, up from $4.215 million this past season. The lowest paid member of the staff is Mike Reed. He goes from $310 to $400. Danny Pearman goes from $355 to $435. I take that back. Brandon Streeter, he's lowest paid. Sorry about that, Brandon. $275 to $375. Still ain't bad if you can get it. Marion Hobby will make $500,000. Robbie Caldwell $465. Dan Brooks $450. And I gave you the other stuff. So that's the news there. And then their support staff, Joey Batson, the strength coach, makes $360. Woody McCorvey $70. Brett Scott $225. Jeff Davis $155. Mike Dooley $165. Thad Turnipseed makes $170,000, and Daniel Bassett makes $86,000 for whatever it is that he does. There you go. Quickly, Hank in Columbia. Let's get him on here before we get to Lee Klein. Hello, Hank.
Hey, Phil, I was just calling to get on you. You were almost about to make a mess of that girls recruiting report.
You like that, huh?
Yeah,
I'm all over it, babe. All over it.
Yeah, but you didn't do it justice, Phil. You remember Antonio Davis that played in the NBA? It's on NBA TV.
Yeah.
The Georgia Tech girl, Kayla Davis, that's his daughter.
Oh. Okay. Well, then she's got the genes. She's got the genes.
Yeah, but she actually, the girl, the wrong North Carolina girl that you were about to play, the one that's transferred to Tennessee.
Yeah.
Antonio Davis's daughter that's transferred to South Carolina was actually ranked ahead of the Shield coming out. She was number 2 in the country. And the girl coming from North Carolina was both her and North Carolina were all first team all ACC last year. The girl from North Carolina was actually the girl that scored like 26 points in that region Sweet 15 game with Carolina last year. So and she was ranked 7th in the country coming out. So actually next year, they'll start 4 girls in the top 10 that were in the top 10 in the country coming out.
I think you're exactly right. She gets good players. They are underway over at Founders Park in Columbia. Clemson mounting a threat in the top of the first. Pender was hit by a pitch to lead off the game. White singled to right field. First and second, nobody out. Roman struck out swinging on a 1-2 pitch. Oki struck out swinging on a 1-2 pitch. And now it's the freshman Beer at the plate. And see if he can deliver for the Tiger fans. A Beer for the Tiger fans would be something that they are hopeful for. But he is down in the count, trying to deliver in his first at-bat of his career in the series. We'll see what happens there. Right now, scoreless in the top of the first. Time to talk some college basketball. As we do here on Friday night, we bring in our college basketball ambassador, former coach, current director of 5-star camps, noted basketball author, all-around good guy, Lee Klein. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Doing great. I mean, it's desperation time in a lot of places. You've got a whole season's worth of work in the smaller conferences coming down to these 3 days. 3 days in your conference tournament and, you know, make your goal, your dream to be the champion of your tournament and make the NCAA tournament on the line. So it's desperation time. And then you have that last little piece of the resume for some teams that are making themselves at large, you know, making sure they're an at-large consideration. And for the others, trying to get a little mojo back, a little confidence before they go in the tournament to start playing well again.
Absolutely. Let me mention here, back to the baseball game, we've got the big South Carolina-Clemson series beginning tonight. Beer struck out swinging on a 1-2 pitch, so after giving up runners to the first two batters, getting runners on base, Schmidt comes back to strike out the next three, all on 1-2 pitches. So Clemson threatened. They did not score. USC coming to the plate. Speaking of the Gamecocks, Lee, bad loss at home to Georgia. And I tell you, the Gamecocks resume, it's really it's tough because I don't know off the top of my head what it is, but the collective RPI of the teams that they have lost to would not be all that good. So they've got several bad losses on their resume to go along with the good wins that they have. They seem to be clinging to a thin line to make it into the tournament. What do you think at this point?
I mean, I think they're a team that's in the tournament that's trying not to play their way out. But they're a team that clearly look, the SEC has been a wacky conference this whole year. I mean, there's no conference as crazy outside of Kentucky and A&M. The rest of it's just bananas. I mean, Vandy's playing well now. You know, we'll see what they do at A&M this weekend. You've got South Carolina, who really started the year unbelievable and has come back a little bit to the pack. But this is, you know, they're offensive. You know, they have some offensive challenges. They don't shoot the ball exceptionally well. And when you're that type of team, you get into a little streak and you don't do the little things and you allow your opposition to stay in the game. But they're a team that's in the tournament that I think as long as they don't lose this weekend, lose first round of the SEC, I think they've done enough that another 2 wins would be great and would really solidify and also gain the confidence back as much as anything. Gain the confidence back, and I think they're in the position. Look, before the year, if we said, here we go, last weekend of the season, South Carolina needs, you know, would like a win and 2 wins between that and the SEC tournament, and they're in the tournament, I think everybody in Columbia would have signed up for it. So I think they're exactly the way that we thought they would, but they're right in position.
As a former coach, how do you get that confidence back, especially in your offense when the shots aren't dropping? And then last night, you know, South Carolina has been the best rebounding team in the SEC all season. They get hammered on the boards last night by a Georgia team, which normally is a pretty physical team. But, you know, if you're Frank Martin, what do you do to get the offense going again? And especially these guys have missed an inordinate number of shots right around the rim.
Yeah, sometimes what happens is you get tight late in the year. You see it; it's so close, you get tight, and in those cases, sometimes the best thing you could do is make basketball fun again. Make it fun again. Laugh. Try to break through the tension. The other thing is, look, you gotta, you do it in practice. If you don't do it in practice, it's not going to apply in the game. The reason why, the game's so easy, we saw, if you were fortunate enough to see last night, and you saw this unbelievable, the Warriors beating the Thunder again and so on. Why does the game look so easy to those guys? Because they practice so hard with such repetition that the game really is easy because of how much work they put in. Same thing here. Practice. If it's faltering now, you got to have success and get it back into practice and doing it the right way so when the game comes, it can translate.
All right, so as we head into this weekend, this is the weekend for the tournaments where the leagues are basically one-team leagues. There might be a couple or so who will have more than one, but basically one-team leagues. And, of course, this is where upsets can really cause a lot of problems for teams on the bubble. You foresee any of the leaders in these leagues who might stumble in their tournaments? For example, I'm thinking about Monmouth, where our good friend Rick Callahan is an assistant coach to King Rice, and what a year they've had. Are they solid enough to make it through their tournament?
Well, they played tonight against Ryder. This MAC conference has really three teams. In my opinion, there are three teams that can win it. They're one. But, playing in Albany, that's a huge Siena advantage. Siena's a good team. They're going to be, they're laying in the wings, and then Iona, which is a team that beat Monmouth. They split during the year, each one winning on the other team's home court. I think this will be this is a dogfight. On top of it, it's a long tournament, meaning these teams are playing 3 nights in a row. I believe, or three out of 4 nights to win it. Right, championships on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. It's you got to have legs. You got to be healthy. All that plays into it. The question is Monmouth an at-large team? I think people want to see them in. But if they lose to Ryder tonight, all bets are off.
Yeah.
I think you got to get to the championship game of the MAC, and then if you get upset, especially if you get upset by Siena, basically the home team, or you lose to an Iona team that beat you earlier, I think there's still enough there to get in, pending that there's no real surprise things that happen. For instance, if Gonzaga wins the West Coast, well, then you're comparing St. Mary's to Monmouth. I don't know. I might think St. Mary's might be right there, or you compare other teams. So then, once you get to the point where if you in the small conference don't take care of business, now you're at the mercy of what happens around. And there's, outside of the MAC, which may get an at-large, these other leagues are just wacky. I mean, you saw what happened in the Atlantic Sun, where North Florida just lost on their home court. Florida Gulf Coast is playing a team ineligible for the postseason. If they lose, then North Florida will go in because that's the wacky rule that they have this year in the conference. You saw in the Southern, Presbyterian got their first ever win, and that league's always a lot of fun, and you got obviously the SEC country knows well Cliff Ellis there at Coastal. So there's so many great subplots, In the Patriot League, the number 1 seed Bucknell lost on their home court. They got knocked out by Holy Cross. American East, Albany got knocked out. So a whole body of work, great 4 months. Unfortunately, for some teams, ends up ending here, and for others, they play great 3 days and they live the dream and they get a chance to dance.
Lee, as always, we appreciate your time. Great still with us here on Sports Talk, and we'll be right back. Thanks again to Lee Klein for joining us here on Sports Talk over at Baseball. USC has taken a 1-0 lead. Destino singled to right field, scored Jones. Jones had doubled to left center with 2 out. So with 2 out, Jones doubles, Destino singles. USC leads 1-0, bottom of the first. Now to Frank Martin. You just heard what Lee said about the Gamecocks, and he still thinks they're pretty solidly in. Certainly could help themselves with a win tomorrow at Arkansas, if not a win or 2 at the SEC tournament. Disappointing loss for Frank Martin and his Gamecocks on senior night last night. Here's what Martin had to say.
Disappointed for our guys. Give Georgia credit. They beat us on the glass. And Gaines and Frazier are just hard shot makers, and they made some hard shots coming down the stretch there. Michael and Senderi spend the whole game playing at the rim, and they don't shoot free throws. I don't know what to say. They got to score. Can't win this time of year shooting 34%. Can't do it.
Frank, the Georgia scramble, getting every loose ball. Was it just the way it was coming off the rim? Could the rebounding have been better?
No, they beat us. I mean, it's simple as that. Their guys. If Michael Carrera has a bad day on the glass or on loose balls, our team does not. There's not another guy in the front line that comes up with a loose ball on our team, and that's, we just didn't do a very good job of defensive rebounding early in the game and at the end of the game. And then there were some scrums where the ball's kind of just around, and we just, you got to go get it. I couldn't play a lick, but I'll tell you what, I came up with every single one of them balls. That was – contact didn't faze me.
Obviously, a top 4 seed still possible, but you got a quick turnaround. What do you do already to get your guys refocused and just ready for Saturday?
Yeah, Brian, I'm not even thinking that right now. I understand that we got a quick turn. I got to disengage from this game. I got to go home, probably be up all night trying to figure out how to handle tomorrow, how to handle our team, and prepare the team for Arkansas, and then travel tomorrow afternoon. We got to figure out a way to go on the road and get a win.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And you can't have Carrera. And listen, can't criticize Carrera. The guy gives everything he's got, but he's got to make some shots. And he took a bunch of threes. The Gamecocks took 20 – I don't have the stats right in front of me – 27 three-pointers last night, I believe it was. The most three-pointers they've taken in a year against Division I teams. I take that back. They took 26 last night. They took 27 against Francis Marion, which is a Division II team. So that's way too many threes for a team that loves to get the ball inside and score in the paint. Some of those threes came late when they were trying to make up the deficit, but most of them came during the flow of the game. Be right back. right, still 1-0 USC, top of the second. Clemson again gets the leadoff batter on in the second. Wilson singling the left field, but then Renwick hit a fly ball to right field, and Wilson was doubled off first base. So he either not seeing the play, either got off too far, or maybe he thought the ball was going to drop, and great play was made out there, and they threw him out going back to first base. So it's a double play nonetheless for South Carolina, and no score for Clemson at this point. Gamecocks up 1-0. Clemson batting in the top of the second, nobody on, and 2 are out. Monty Dutton, the full Monty on NASCAR in just a moment here on Sports Talk. And we're brought to you by South Carolina's 529 College Savings Plan. Future Scholar, the smart way to save for a loved one's education, and tax time a perfect time to invest. Visit futurescholar.com, and Future Scholar is administered by the Office of State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. Speaking of politicians and state administrators and the like, singing the national anthem tonight at the ball game and throwing out the first pitch, the Commissioner of Agriculture, Hugh Weathers, who KMAC tells me sings a nice national anthem, has a nice voice and a pretty good arm. Of course, the Agriculture Department involved with the Palmetto Series between USC and Clemson, and the baseball series, of course, a part of the Palmetto Series, which USC is leading going into this weekend's baseball series. Now, let's talk NASCAR as we welcome in Monty Dutton from MontyDutton.com, 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 where he opines on NASCAR, politics, life in general, his firm and Paladins, and most anything else. Monty, how are you?
Well, oddly enough, Phil, I'm doing exactly what you apparently are, because I'm sitting at a baseball game.
Well, I'm not at the game yet. I am watching it on the stat tracker. Game. I will be heading over there in just a little bit. What game are you at?
I'm at the Riverside Clinton game.
Oh, exciting high school baseball. Very good.
Red Devils lead at 1-0 after 1.
Very good. Well, let's catch up on NASCAR. They're in Las Vegas. And for those who have not been paying attention, in a practice today, Brad Keselowski, 195.3, Logano, 195.2. Same for Kurt Busch. Paul Menard, 194. Brian Vickers, 194. So, first round of qualifying and anything else you're hearing out of the garage area?
The speeds are higher than NASCAR intended them to be. If it's lower down, it took some horsepower away last year. And those pesky engineers confounded them last year, but I'm reasonably sure that in qualifying, probably track record is going to be set because a bunch of people broke it today. So this downforce and the so-called change to mechanical grip instead of aerodynamic grip has had the short-term effect of apparently raising speeds in Las Vegas.
It seemed like, at least some of the drivers who talked after last week's race in Atlanta, where the new package went into effect full time, they liked it. They seem to be really enjoying what they're doing once again.
Yes, they have. They do like it a lot. I just watched the catcher make an error.
Yeah.
They do like it. I have to say that there's always this dichotomy. First of all, I think the race was better. I don't think it was a lot better, but that varies week to week, and not every race is a classic. But one of the things I've always noted is that you always hear race car drivers, and they look and they say, well, I don't know about what you guys are looking at, but where I see it is a deciding race. And I always think, well, my God, you're going 190 miles an hour around a track and close to others. I would hope it's not putting you to sleep. But NASCAR is a spectator sport. And so the excitement of the perception of the fans plays a big role, too. I do think last week's race was a little better, but I think it's sort of like everything else. The NASCAR term is, at the end of the day, or it is what it is, but I think the racing is a little better, and I think its driver has more to do with it. So, but I think you can't make a judgment on the basis of one race or two races.
All right, now news this week coming from that race, and we had a suspension of one of the crew chiefs, the crew chief for the Truex team, and this did not go over real well, obviously, with his team, and it's a major penalty, and we're talking about what they call a P3 penalty, and Cole Pern, the crew chief, fined $50,000. Truex was docked 15 championship points, et cetera, et cetera. So, P3 rules violation. What's the inside story on this? What allegedly did they do, and why is this such a severe penalty?
Well, you can't look at people in the eyes and see when they're talking. It's hard to tell because most of the time it's utterly predictable that the people who did the transgression invariably say there was no competitive advantage, and it was these people who have everything measured to within millimeters. They, of course, insisted if they had something an inch off, they just turned the ball around one more time. So it's hard to place any value when people say something that you know exactly they're going to say ahead of time. So I think what's fair to say about this is that as NASCAR has gotten more advanced with cars, and there being all sorts of digital readouts and computer things that they didn't have not too long ago, because NASCAR really limited the technology trying to hold costs down. Now they have all these bells and whistles, and it's a whole lot. It might be a little bit harder to stay within the tolerances. It might also be a little bit harder to make NASCAR think that you're within the tolerances. So I think there's an adjustment that's going on with this so-called digital dashboard and other things in cars. And I think that the teams will probably get zinged a few times before they are they have become conversant in just what they cannot do.
So more specifically in this case, do we know what exactly it was? What piece of equipment was over-adjusted, or what bolt was over time was so important that they got suspended and lost points and all that?
Well, as I said, it's sort of another fundamental change is that it's codified. In other words, it's kind of like NASCAR is going from the English system of justice to the code Napoleon, which means everything is measured exactly what if you do this wrong, this is what it'll be. And that's what that P3 is. P3, of course, is a sort of a redundant term. P3 stands for penalty 3.
Yeah.
It's like saying Presbyterian College, PC College, Shintown. So by the standards of what they've done, it was not a really big violation. Because if there's something nefarious, I think NASCAR basically has the attitude that if it's a little bit off, you're going to get punished. Which, by the way, last week is why Jimmy Johnson's crew chief, Chad Knaus, told him not to do a burnout, because after this type of thing happened in the Senate race with Kyle Busch's car, they didn't want them waving the car around and causing, things for the car to drop too low or not settle or whatever. So I don't think it's a big thing, but it's just something that NASCAR is probably making an example of people early in the season.
Interesting. I did not know that.
And by the way, if you want to be more specific, I did about Tuesday remember what that was, but frankly, I'm sitting in the baseball press box and I've forgotten what the hell it was.
That's all right.
Wrong.
Who's your pick for Vegas? We got about 30 seconds. Who's your pick for Vegas?
I think that one of the four, I think either Keselowski or Logano is going to win. I'm going to pick Keselowski.
Keselowski is your pick. Okay, Monty. As always, we thank you. Enjoy your baseball game tonight. Monty Dutton, the full Monty on NASCAR, with us here every Friday night during the racing season. You can get more from Monty on his blog, MontyDutton.com, TEDUTTON.com. Over at Founders Park, they are in the third inning, and it is a 1-0 USC lead. USC did nothing in the bottom of the second, so they go to the third up 1-0. Dawn Staley, USC women, they win today at the SEC tournament. We'll hear from them in a moment. In that USC second, Tolbert struck out swinging. Cone flied out to left, and Mooney flied out to left. So 1-2-3 inning for the Gamecocks. In the third, once again, the leadoff hitter gets on for Clemson. Cox hit by a pitch. That's 2 Tigers hit by pitches today. A Pender popped out to left side. So the Tigers have 1 out, runners at first and second. USC leading 1-0, top of the third inning. And we'll hear from K-Mac coming up in the next segment of the program. He's over there at Founders Park. Of course, the new name for USC's baseball facility, which is sponsored by Founders. And Founders, of course, one of our great sponsors here on Sports Talk. We want to remind you to relax on and off the field with Founders Federal Credit Union. Of course, they're located in the heart of Gamecock country. Founders Russell House location is available to help you with all your financial needs. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com to see if you qualify for membership. All right, USC's women's team. Opening game in Jacksonville, Florida. Wasn't a pretty thing. They struggled throughout, but they did take down Auburn to advance to the semifinals on Saturday. And USC coach Dawn Staley and players Elena Coates and Tiffany Mitchell spoke with the media afterwards. And Elena Coates got the first question and was asked about the struggles in the game and how they managed to overcome Auburn to advance.
I mean, you have to feel good about your performances. You want to, try to correct the things that we didn't do so well today. And I think, knowing our team, they understand what took place out there. But from a defensive standpoint, I like what we're doing. It's been a stable force, over the past couple of games in which, it's been hard for our offense to get going. So our offense just has to, find a way to find some fluidity and, have our post and our perimeter sync up a little bit better.
Back here in the front.
Well, for Tiffany and Elena, with what Dawn's talked about, just getting more fluid on offense, is that just a matter of targeting the bigs early or just trying to drive the lane? Just how do you kind of get out of those slow starts?
Tiffany, if you'll start, and then Elena, please.
It's just syncing up. We have to hit our post players when they're open and when they're not around 2 people, so they can have easy looks at the basket. And when they do draw the double, they can hit us on the outside. So it's just syncing up and be able to find each other when we need to.
Can you repeat the question?
Just how do you get out of those slow starts?
Everything that Tip said.
You're on the second row.
Coach, Khadijah didn't play at all in the second half. Why was that?
She was a little under the weather. So we just felt it best not to, play her and rest her up and see if she can get rid of her stomach ailment.
Are there any other questions? All right, Coach, ladies, thank you very much.
Okay. Well, we really screwed that up going in. A little miscommunication there between host and producer. Anyway, that was Dawn, the opening comments, and then the questions to the players. And they didn't have a whole lot to say. So maybe it will pick up as they go on through the bracket. And let's see. Do I still have the SEC women's bracket in front of me? Yeah, I don't. So we'll take a look at some other scores of interest to us. Games that are ongoing. Let's see. Southern Conference Tournament in overtime. Samford beat VMI 92-85. Big South, and it's just ending. Winthrop beats Presbyterian 67-53. So Winthrop 21-8 advances. I'm not sure if that record is up to date, if that was prior to or up to date after the win, but good win for Winthrop. They're having a heck of a year. And let's see what else. My alma mater, Harvard, not having a great year this year. Harvard is beating Princeton 43-35. I always like it when the H Shield, does good things on the hardwood. Monmouth, we talked about them earlier. Our boy, Rick Callahan, his team's up 26-13 over Rider. And what else? Coming up, Coastal and Gardner-Webb in the Big South. Colonial Conference, Delaware College of Charleston. Oh, the Citadel playing Mercer tonight at the SoCon, and they dismissed just a little while ago their starting point guard was kicked off the team. P.J. Boots, B-O-U-T-T-E, Butte. He did something wrong and got kicked off the team here in Asheville just prior to the start of their game. We'll go out to the ballpark after the break. All right, down in Conway, Coastal Carolina, which lost to the College of Charleston earlier in the week, lost to Cincinnati today by a 10-7 score. This in the Chanticleer Classic at Springs Brooks Stadium. Meantime, over at Founders Park, let's see. They are, I think, just going to the top of the fourth. I don't have to think. Let's go to K-Mac, who's eyeballing the game. Where are you?
Always a dangerous thing when you're thinking, Corn, but you're actually thinking correctly right now. It is the top of the fourth inning. The Gamecocks lead 1-0 over Clemson. They scored in the bottom of the first with 2 outs, a 2-out double by John Jones, who has just been on a tear. And that was followed by an Alex Castino single that made it 1-0 Gamecocks. Clemson has threatened in each of the first 3 innings. The Tigers have had the leadoff man on in the first inning. They had 2 on and nobody out. And Clark Schmidt struck out the side. In the second inning, they got the leadoff man on. He was doubled off on a failed hit and run, and they had 2 on and 1 out last inning, and a double play ended things. So Schmidt's working out of trouble, and the Gamecocks have a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, Tigers have left 3, so they've had the pressure on the Gamecocks, but Schmidt has risen to the occasion every time he's been in trouble.
Yes, he has. It's just very well. Now, he has lived dangerously, and you got to wonder if Clemson's going to scratch through, but they've definitely had some missed opportunities there, and Schmidt's made the pitches when he's had to.
Okay. Tell me about the missed hit and run. What happened on that play? Who missed the signal?
Yeah, I don't know that it was a missed signal or what happened exactly. I was told now, just to reset things on that play, there was a Weston Wilson single, and he was running on the next pitch, and Adam Renwick hit a lazy ball to right field to Gene Cone, and the middle infielders kind of deeped Wilson and made it look like they were going to turn a double play, and I think he thought the ball was on the ground, but it was actually in the air, and Gene Cone had an easy play to first the double play.
Okay, how's the crowd?
Great crowd, as you could imagine. Not an empty seat. People in the berm standing around the outfield fence. Perfect night for baseball here at Founders Park.
All right, make way for me. I'm on my way.
We'll see you here.
See ya. Not that anybody cares, and not that anybody will do anything for me. But get out of my way. I'm making a beeline for the stadium here in about 90 seconds. All right, so it's a good one. Kind of game you want. Hopefully, it'll be a tight ball game all the way through and some intensity and some nervous moments all over the ballpark going into the late innings, which makes for great baseball. 1-0 USC is up on Clemson as they play in the top of the fourth inning. I want to mention Adam Scott leading after the second round of the World Golf Championships, the Cadillac Championship. At, can you say, Trump National Doral without getting people mad at you? He shot a 66 today, 2 clear of Rory McIlroy and Dustin Johnson. Justin Johnson had a 64 today. That will do it. Thank you for being with us. Follow our coverage of the weekend on the website, sportstalksc.com. Thank you, Larkin Belton. Have a great weekend, everyone, and we'll see you Monday night here on Sports Talk.